view.
We are live.
Gallery.
Chair, we are live.
I'm just having a little problem right now. You'll give me 1 second. I lost it. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I hear you, but I can't see you.
But we lost your picture.
Again. Oh,
You were right there.
I know. There's something there. Jason, can we just get a little help with this real quick?
Sure, just 1 second. This is Mike Betsy. I'm just going to grab Jason so
Hi,
we can
Mike.
walk you through this. You should see on the top right a view button while I'm waiting for Jason. It should reference a changing of your screen in some capacity.
Yeah.
It says share your screen, your application window, Chrome tab. I can see Diane.
Did you just stop video, Betsy? Go to the lower left.
There's nothing really going on here.
Go all the way down to the bottom of your screen.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a little camera, and it says stop.
No, none of that is there. Let me see if I can.
Okay, so
there we go. Okay.
Let's see. All right, and
There we go. Is that me?
that's
don't
almost
see you.
you. It's a black box right now.
It has your name on it.
It does have her name on it. Betsy, I'm asking you to start the video.
Okay. You ready?
I hope
Good
so.
afternoon, everyone.
Wait, you're not up yet. You're not up yet.
Well, I would like to be part of this.
Sure,
Start my
you're.
video.
Let's see.
There
There
she
you
is.
are.
Okay, let's go. You ready? Are we up?
We're up.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the June 25th Architectural Review Board meeting, 2020. I'd like to open the meeting with the approval of the minutes from last meeting, June 11th, 2020. Can I get a second on those minutes, Diane?
Second, yes.
All in favor? Aye.
Bye.
Okay, great. Okay, so the first item on the agenda is Historic District and Landmarks for Tom Burke, tax map number 300-94-2-1, 182 3 Mile Harbor Road in East Hampton. Is anyone on the line for this application? Tom Burke?
There are no callers currently on the line.
Okay. Jameson, I received in the, let me read into the record what the application is for. I'm sorry. This is an application for a new layer of 5/8 plywood and to replace the cedar shingle roof. Partial replacement of single cedar roof, added plywood and ice barrier, approximately 6 square roofing on south side, main portion of home. This building is a historic building that is located up on 182 3 Mile Harbor Hog Creek Highway. I believe this is the residence of John Dart. And Jameson, I received your notification that for a historic residence, routes and most of the landmarks must retain the wood shingle roof, and installing a new wood shingle roof is exempt from review. So would this then be applied to this application since it's just a replacement of new shingles on an old shingle roof? Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
If that's what it is, I was not clear on the application when it said a new layer of 5/8 ply under replaced single cedar shingle roof. So,
Well, I believe what they did is they removed the old shingle and they replaced with new plywood and an ice barrier to protect the home. And then they are putting new shingles on top of that.
Okay.
It says that if you look at the second page where the handwritten says replace existing cedar shingle roof with cedar shingle roof with a layer of 5/8 plywood and ice water shield, cedar breathe underneath. So, Peter, does that sound correct to you?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Is there a photograph that we can point to on that house? That image to the next one? Right. That's the home. And that's the roof that needs to be replaced, as it sure does. And then, Britt, if you, right, go to that one, great. And that's the ice barrier, I believe, over the plywood, and they're looking for approval to replace the shingle. And since this is a historic house, the relevant code says that if they're replacing the wood shingle in kind, it's exempt from review. To be honest with you, when I went up there, I could not find the entrance to 182. The closest I came to is 184, and that wasn't the property. And I called the number on the application and did not receive a call back, nor could I confirm that the number that I dialed was the correct number because it was sort of, I couldn't make it out whether it was a 4 or a 7, and I tried both of them. So since there's no caller on the line and this would be exempt, can I move forward to approve the application, or we just withdraw it?
Well, if, according to how the application is written and according to how the code is written, this does not, it's a special historic landmark. It was added in 2017 to the list within our code. But that section that you read, which is in the Appendix E of the code, it doesn't require ARB's approval. So I think it should be withdrawn. I mean, my opinion is it should be withdrawn, and the application fee should probably be returned as well. I would, if someone is watching or they want to call in, only if for some reason they were told they had to come to ARB for a different reason that we're missing, or maybe there was a misunderstanding and they went to the building department first and they said it's a historic landmark, they have to come to ARB. But the way that I read the code, it doesn't require ARB, so I think it should just be withdrawn.
Right. Well, when there was that thing from the planning board that I gave you, there was something about anything that's done to the historic home on the property has to go under ARB and planning. So they probably thought because they were changing, the shingles to new shingles, that they needed ARB review. That's how I would interpret this.
Right. That's what Betsy's referencing is they recently got approval, a waiver of subdivision approval. There was also, so in the planning board's approval, there was also requirements specific to the historic nature of this property. They also filed historic preservation easements. But I don't think
I'm sorry, go ahead.
This, that it's very specific that it's a special historic landmark, and the code is very specific about roofs, and this fits exactly within what they're doing. So,
right. And I would imagine even if it wasn't exempt, that and I can only speak for myself, that I would have no problem approving this renovation.
okay.
And so should we just poll the board?
Yeah. Why don't we poll the board? Why don't we? Just in the event, I don't want to, make a mistake and waste their time if they have to come back.
Right. So based on the application and the presentation, Peter, do you have any, would you agree to approve this application for the renovation of the cedar roof shingles?
No, not at all. I believe they're doing it in kind and are maintaining the historic character of the house.
So
Right. And Diane,
I agree.
would you be in agreement?
Yep.
Esperanza?
yes, no objection on my part.
Thank you. And Chip?
No objection.
Great. Okay, so we're all in agreement? And I
Yes.
think Jameson, if we could withdraw this and return their fee, if that's how we're interpreting it. If not, then it's approved.
Okay, if not, we would have to recall it and make a motion at that time. But I think
Well,
we
I
should,
can well, if you would like me to make that motion now, I can. Or
I
would
don't
you
think we
prefer not
should.
to?
Yeah, I don't think I don't want to do a disservice to the applicant, but if I don't think that this board has jurisdiction, I don't think we should vote on it. And
Okay,
if they
great.
bring some other fact to the table that we're somehow missing, then we'll vote on it at the next meeting.
Okay, all right. I'm in
Whenever.
agreement.
Okay,
Okay, great.
thanks. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, the next category is business signs, and it would be Hampton's Water Property Owners Association, Inc., tax map number 300-118-1-37 and 55, 76 Springy Banks Road in East Hampton, and that's Diane Benson. But let me just also read into it. There are two others for this same application. One would be tax map number 300-92-4-151 Oyster Pond Lane, and tax map number 300-92-3-13 Springy Banks Road. Diane, can you read into the record what the application is for,
Absolutely.
please?
This is an application to replace the 3 familiar Hampton's water signs on the traffic island between the aforementioned properties at 1 Oyster Pond Lane and Springwoods Lane, with new signs that are the same size as the existing ones, but have fewer words and are installed on more discrete posts. They've taken away, could we see the pictures? There's tons of pictures within the application, Brittany. I've actually never, ever received an application that was so meticulous, so detailed, and so perfectly presented. It was absolutely delightful. Anyway, they're very familiar signs. They're making them even nicer. Okay, that's the area. I think most people on Springy Banks are familiar with these 3 Hampton's water signs.
Right, and those little green squares represent where
That
each one of the signs
where the
are.
signs are. And Brittany, if you could show us any one of the signs themselves. The existing sign and the proposed. This is the existing sign. They're going to take away those caps, and they're going to have which will lower the whole feeling of the sign itself. And they're going to be, if you could put the proposed one, in natural cedar frames. So it's quieter, and they've eliminated the repetition of naming the road on the signs. And unless anybody has any questions or objections, I would like to thank them for providing with such a respectful application. And I would make a motion to accept this application as presented.
Excuse me, Chair, if
do I
I
have a
may.
second?
Chair, if I
I
may,
have a
there,
question.
Yes,
Chair, if I may, there is a caller on the line just in case you need that.
Okay.
let's see who that would be. We would only be looking for John O'Rourke.
Until they speak, unfortunately, I wouldn't know who they are. Would you like
Yeah,
me to unmute
okay.
them and welcome them?
Yes.
Sure.
Thank you.
Caller, you're
Yes.
on the phone.
Thank you. I submitted the application. Thank you, Diane, for your comments.
Well, it was beautifully done.
Good. That was my goal.
Okay,
great.
well, you have succeeded mightily here. So
Great.
unless there's any other questions or.
I had a question only. We didn't get to see the color samples. I was just curious because the
Oh.
proposed sign seems like a bright green with the yellow. And I know I saw their color samples. I just wondered, since this is a dark green with white lettering, what
Oh.
the colors were.
Within the application, there are colored chips,
Right.
a dark green and a light beige, and the lettering will be in carved gold leaf.
Ah.
As opposed
So-
to the current colors. The
Okay.
colors.
So what we're looking at right now, that's the coloration, correct?
That's the proposed, yes.
Right, okay.
I will just jump in for a second. I have the hard
The new
copy.
signs are photoshopped in. That's why the
I was gonna
colors are a
say,
little off.
Yeah, I think that the colors are a little bit off because I have the hard copy that has the chips in it. And
Yeah.
they're a little bit darker than what
Yes.
you're seeing.
That's
We
correct.
have them in the-
It would be the darker. The chip is accurate.
Right, so if Brittany, if you could go back to the last photo that you had, which was the rendering of the sign. That one, is it? So that's the old one.
That's the
That's the old
existing.
sign. That's the existing.
There is a file with the color samples in that folder.
Yeah, it's a very complete file.
Oh yeah, try number 15.
Post sign, color sample, yeah.
There you
there
go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany.
Okay, yeah, all right, no, great.
Great.
I just was
Okay.
curious as to the
All
colors.
right.
That's all.
So can I have a second to Diane's motion, Chip?
Second,
All in favor, Esperanza?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Betsy, aye. Great. Okay, thank you, John.
Thank
Good
you very
luck.
much.
Thank you everyone for your efforts and your consideration.
Well, thank you.
Moving on to change to commercial, Winter Brothers Real Estate LLC, tax map number 300-50-1-23-4, 94 South Emerson Avenue in Montauk. And Michael, if we can check to see if we have anybody on the, any callers, I would be looking for somebody by the name of Michael Morbillo.
There are
Awesome.
currently no callers on the line.
Okay. So I'm going to read into the record the application. This is for a prior built 153 square foot porch trestle over the existing deck converted to a porch roof. So Brittany, if we could take a look at the photographs for this application, Winter Brothers, there should be two photographs. One, if you can reduce that so both photos are in the screenshot, because it's on one page there. You keep going. Excellent. Okay. The top is the what is existing. Let me explain this. There are 3 of these condo buildings that are, the back of them are on South Emerson, and the face of them, what you're looking at, faces the beach and the ocean in downtown Montauk. There are 3 separate units, and the top represents what all 3 of them had looked like. The bottom represents what one is now looks like, which is a painted shingle, and that they enclose the beams with a roof. When you see this in person, the new structure, I think, looks more complete and more appropriate. And I'm hoping that the other 2 follow suit. So I have no problem approving the roof structure that they added to the beams. Does anybody have any questions for me on this?
I think it's a substantial improvement.
I agree.
I'm in agreement, yes. Anyone else?
I think it's terrific.
Yeah, me too.
Great, okay. So I would like to make a motion to approve this application as submitted. Can I get a second, Peter?
Second,
All in favor, Chip,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
and Esperanza?
Aye.
Okay, all right, great, it's approved. The next category is fences, walls, and berms, and that would be Orchard House LLC, tax map number 300-172-04-10-3, 35 Old Montauk Highway in Amagansett. And Michael, we might be looking for Britton Bristrian.
There are no
If there's
callers
any
on the
callers
line.
on the line? Okay,
I'll let you know, but there are currently no callers.
great, thank you. Then Peter, I'd like to turn this over to you, please.
thank you. We saw this last time. I believe that what they've submitted now is 2 colors to lighten the fence. This anchor gray is one, and below that is a wrought iron. I believe they're giving us a choice between this. they are proposing to lower the gate and the fence around it down to 6 feet. Currently, the fence is, I believe, it's up to 7'4", and the gate, I mean, the gate is 7'4". The fence goes up to 6'4". They're proposing to lower everything to 6 feet. And we have a choice of the color. If we do, right, I much prefer the anchor gray, the one on top,
Yes.
which is lighter. Right now, it's a black wall.
Yeah, I agree.
Excuse me, Chair, if I may, we do have that caller on the line. Just a moment.
Great, thank you. Can I ask a question real quick though, Peter? Do you see those two metal posts that are on the side, either side of the gate? Do you think that that just wasn't airbrushed out when they did this rendering?
I think that they,
No, that it's still the fencing. I can see the fencing there.
right. I think that has been eliminated.
Right. We discussed that last meeting, correct?
Yes. The fence, the posts and the fencing have been taken away. They're no
Okay.
longer there.
Great.
Excuse me,
Britton, are
Chair,
you on the line?
I am. Good afternoon, Board. This is Britton Bistrian representing 35 Orchard House, LLC.
Hi there.
Hi, Britton.
Hello, Brittany.
Hi.
Do we have a choice
we had
of
a pretty
color?
I'm sorry?
Do we have a choice of color? There are two colors that were submitted, anchor gray and wrought iron.
Yes, that was, I believe, how the board left it last time, was that this had a previous decision by the board from a couple of decades ago, and what you sent me away with when you tabled it last week was give us two choices of gray colors that the owner would approve, and so the board has the ability to choose whichever one they would prefer.
I don't recall that we asked for two choices of colors. Does anybody else?
No,
I don't either.
an alternative. A
An
lighter
alternative, yes, a lighter color.
Right.
So Britton, it's really not up to us to pick their color. I think what you're hearing from the board is that, except I didn't hear from Chip or Diane, that Peter, myself, and Esperanza would prefer the lighter gray,
Yeah.
but it's up to the applicant to choose the color, and then we could say yes or no.
Okay,
And I'm
so
fine with the lighter gray.
applicant would like to
Me
choose
too.
anchor gray.
Okay.
Me too.
Brittany, you hear that the board prefers the lighter color.
So it's Britton, and yes, anchor gray is how we would like to proceed if we could get the board's approval on that.
Right, and then everything's at 6 feet. Okay, Peter, does anybody have any questions on this before Peter moves forward?
No.
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 Okay,
I'd like to make a motion that we accept this application, reducing the height of the fencing and the height of the gate down to 6 feet, and that the board prefers the lighter gray color.
okay, well, since we're gonna take the word prefer out because the applicant is willing to do the lighter gray. So we're just going to approve the anchor gray color, okay?
All right.
Okay. All right, Britton, you're good to go. Do you have anything else on the agenda that
I
we can
think
help
you
you with?
need, I think we need to
Yes, the
have a
next-
Oh, I'm
second.
sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, yes. Can I get a second on that, Chip?
Second.
All in favor, Diane,
Yes.
Esperanza,
Aye.
and Betsy, I. Okay. Britton, you have another one on? Can we jump to that for you?
Yes. Yes,
All right,
it's
that
just
one-
not the next one, but the next one.
Right,
341 Town Lane LLC.
right. 341 Town Lane, LLC, tax map number 300-149-5-4, and that is at 341 Town Lane in Amagansett. And Peter, could you read into the to the record what the application is for?
Application is for a security gate, alternating natural cedar planks, posts at 6'10", gate at 6'4". The width is 18 foot wide. The gate is 1,057 feet from the nearest street, Town Lane.
So Peter, tell us what you found.
This is a property, right, which is currently under construction. This is a single width driveway, which goes back probably at least a quarter mile from the highway. It's not visible at all. It is a flag lot, right? Brittany, could you put on the survey, please? I think we need to know where the gate is.
I've lost everybody.
Yeah.
Excuse me for 1 minute. Wait, excuse me for a minute. Diane, I kept on doing it, and I just kept on, re-entering myself into my computer with my password, and then it was coming back up.
We
See if you can do that.
You're frozen.
I'm sorry?
I see her, but her image is frozen.
Yeah. Just log yourself back in with your password. All right, Peter, can you go ahead while we're waiting for Diane to come back?
Okay, all right. On the lower center, you can see vaguely where the proposed gate is, right? The two, right, blue dots, right?
Right, down
Right
at the
in
bottom, right.
Right in between there is where the proposed gate is. It's not at all visible from the roadway. It is a flag lot, and I believe that we're allowed to exceed the 6 foot height because the proposed gate is at 6 foot. What did I read off? I'm sorry.
6'4" and 6'8".
6'4", and the posts are at 6'10".
Oh, 6'10".
Brittany, could you go back to the view of the gate itself? It's fairly open, natural cedar, unpainted. I have no objection to it. I think it's quite appropriate for the location.
Okay, do I get a second? Let me see if Diane's back with us. Diane, are you there?
She's frozen. Oh, no.
Excuse me, Betsy. I was just
Michael, can we help?
I was just communicating with Jason. He says it's best that if she is frozen for her on her own end, if anyone can communicate to her to restart her Zoom connection with us.
Who would be the best one to do that?
I'll see if I can send her a text.
Okay.
I think because she was not logged into this discussion anyway, she shouldn't vote on this application.
No.
So that's my 2 cents.
No.
Sorry.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
You get to vote.
She's not voting either.
Well, Jameson, do you think it's okay that we go ahead and vote?
Yes.
and then wait? This way Britton can move on, and then we can wait for Diane to come back up.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Because she didn't hear the discussion anyway. For her to vote, you would have to tell the whole story again. So
Right.
it's actually
Okay.
better to vote without her.
I'd
Right.
like to
So-
make a motion to accept this application as submitted.
And can I get a second on that, Esperanza?
Second.
All in favor, Chip?
Aye.
And Betsy, aye. Okay, great. All right, Britton, do you have anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thank you very much, board.
Great, thank you.
Britton.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So we're going to take a little pause for a second, right? And see if we can get Diane back up. In the meantime, Brittany, if you want to pull up on the smart board the file for Cameron Malacan, 46 Old Orchard Lane, that will be our next application.
And Chair, when you're ready, I believe that caller is on the line.
Great, thank you. Let's just wait to see if we can get Esperanza. Have you?
I sent her a message, but I don't know if she has her phone near her to know to check it.
Let me call her.
Yes, maybe. I hear she's got her sound on.
Betsy?
Hi, we're trying to find you.
I don't know what happened. Everything just stopped. My whole thing just stopped.
All right,
So
Michael, can you hear Diane?
Yes, Diane, can you hear me?
wait, let me put my earbuds back in. I got it. Hello?
Hello, Diane, are you
Hello?
there?
Hello?
Diane?
Diane, can you speak?
I'm speaking. I'm speaking. Can anybody hear me? I can
Yes.
see myself and hear myself. It's really weird. Everybody else went black.
Diane, can
And,
you log out of the Zoom
okay,
feed
I
and
don't know
log
what
back in?
happened when you put up the new things on the smart board. Maybe I
Diane.
can try and join again.
Diane,
Diane,
simply
Diane,
log, simply.
Wait, everybody, whoa. Diane, Michael's
Yeah.
going to tell you what to do, okay? So
Okay.
everybody, let Michael speak, okay?
Thank you. Diane, simply log out of the Zoom feed for a moment and log back in.
But I can't hear him. I can't.
Michael, say that again, please.
I can't hear him. I can only hear you on the phone.
Diane, can you
Okay.
hear me now?
I don't think she can. Let me speak to her. Diane, log out of the Zoom feed and then log back in, and I'll stay on the phone with you.
Okay, honey.
Your voice is coming through on the computer, but go ahead
Oh,
and
it
log
is?
out. Yeah. Go ahead and log out and then log back in, and we'll just wait.
Okay. Now here I'm back on the screen with the smart board, I think. It says you are viewing Brittany's screen. Okay, stop video. Leave. Okay, I'm going to leave. Goodbye. Leave.
Wait, let me ask Brittany to do something. Brittany, can you take off your screen?
I'm going to try to come back in.
Okay, but Brittany, can you turn your screen off, please? Or take it down? Thank you.
Okay, so she has left the meeting, and if she signs back in, we'll see what happens.
Well, she didn't have to leave the meeting. I was just asking her to.
Please wait, the meeting host will let you in.
I'm allowing her in now, just a moment.
Okay.
I see everybody again. Sorry. Okay, start my video.
There you are.
Okay.
So can we get Brittany back up? Michael, can I just mention something
Yes.
that might be helpful for us going forward? 2 or 3 times whenever Brittany's smartboard image came up on the screen, my screen went blank and I had to log back in. So something's happening, and I think that happened with Diane just now too.
I'll mention that to
So
Jason.
I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But we're back. I believe we're ready to go.
Okay. So I'm going to read into the record Cameron Malacan, tax map number 300-142-1-11-021, 46 Old Orchard Lane in East Hampton. And I believe, Michael, you said that Cameron was on the call.
Caller, you're live with the ARB.
Great.
Yes.
Hi, Cameron. All right. I'm going to read into
Hello?
the record your application. It is for a 6-foot deer fence, and also attached to it was a rendering of a gate. But when I went out to the property yesterday and met with Cameron, he said that he wanted to withdraw the gate part of the application and just discuss the 6-foot fencing. So Brittany, if we could take a look at the survey of Cameron's property, please. And Cameron, what I'm going to do is explain what my interpretation is of our talk yesterday, and then you could, answer any questions or correct me if I'm misinterpreting what you're looking for. This is Cameron's property.
Sure.
It is off of Old Orchards Lane. It's down a long flag lot that curves a little bit when you come into the residential area. And you can see that there's fencing that goes from the two sides of the house, the plane of the house, and goes around the pool. That is now an existing 4-foot wire mesh deer fencing and metal posts. And what Cameron wants to do is to, instead of have a 4-foot deer fencing, he'd like a 6-foot in that same location. And he was saying that he would like not to have to make the expense to remove the 4-foot, and could he just put the 6-foot either right behind it or right in front of it. So that's kind of where we're at with this. And the only concern that I had was that over on where the property line, where the fencing is down, like sort of towards the bottom of his property, where it says lot 20, that area, the fencing is right on the property line. So if he was going to either replace it, he needed to bring it in off the property line, or make sure that the new 6-foot fencing goes inside the property. And I think he thought at that area that some of that fencing was getting a little dilapidated, so he was going to remove that area anyway. Is that correct, my interpretation of our conversation, Cameron?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions about this?
No,
No, I was there a couple months ago.
Right, we couldn't figure out what was what, right? So
Right.
fortunately, when I went there yesterday, I was able to, have a conversation and kind of figure this out with him. Diane or Esperanza, any concern with changing this out to a 6-foot wire fencing?
No.
No?
No, I'm just, so is the conclusion then that he's just going to be placing the 6-foot, there are existing 6-foot posts that he can just put 6-foot?
No, they're all 4-foot. So he would be basically doing a whole new fencing, but he wanted to know if in some of the more remote areas, does he have to take down the 4-foot? Could he just back it into the 6-foot? And I said, yes, as long as there's not any space between them where an animal starts to jump and gets caught in between.
Oh, God, no, you're right.
Yeah.
Because we've had that happen when, that we know about before.
Yeah.
So he was okay with putting it either right behind it or right in front of it, with the exception of down near the property line, where he's going to just remove that section of 4-foot and put the 6-foot in his property line.
Understood.
So I'm going to make a motion to approve the application for a 6-foot fence in the area that the 4-foot fence exists now. Can I get a second, Peter?
second,
All in favor, Chip,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes, okay.
and Esperanza?
Aye.
Okay. And then, Cameron, you can come back to us with a new application for the fencing for the gate when you're ready, okay?
Sure.
Okay, great. All right, thank you.
Thank you all. I really appreciate it.
Okay, you're good to go.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, I'm going to move on to extension of time. Alan Rooney, tax map number 300-55-9-13, 10 North Hollow Drive in East Hampton, and that's Diane.
Yes, this is an application to request extension of time for an approval on a driveway of fencing and a driveway gate dated July 10th, 2014, and a resolution dated 2014, which is attached. Now, I visited this property, and fortunately, the current owner who has filed the application has obviously dawdled since 2014, and we have a very old, hard to read survey from, I think, I don't know, 1981 or something. It's very old. Anyway, the new owner, or the prospective, the about to be new owners, a very nice couple also named Benson, were there. And I explained to them that unlike the rest of the gates on the street, that this one was not only oversized, the posts are about 6'8", and to grade, the gate is about 6'5", but it's very, very solid and wall-like. And on the street, there's an amazing plethora of almost at least half transparent gates. And I also explained to them that the property was 100% surrounded by fencing, which we frown upon. So they're very new to this. They're trying to purchase this property, and the owner, the current owner, Mr. Alan Rooney, they said there were surveyors that have been there. So I expect that we should agree to an extension of time. And it's also here for a C of O, but I don't think there's any question that it's not ready to be heard or recognized for a C of O. But I think we should grant the extension of time and let the parties take in all the new information that they have and present us with a new survey.
Well, let me ask Jameson, would we give an extension of time of something that we wouldn't approve? Wouldn't we just not grant the extension of time and ask for the new owners to come back to us with a new proposal for a modification to that gate and those posts?
They're not the new owners yet. Excuse me. They're not the new owners yet. Yes, Mr. Rooney is still the owner. These people have been renting the house, and they're trying to buy the house.
I understand, but I'm asking Jameson if by extending the extension of time, are we approving that gate?
Yeah, I mean, but here you're not approving the gate as built, I don't think, because I think what Diane mentioned is that what's built doesn't comply with what was approved.
All right, I don't have the resolution from 214. Diane, do you have that in your file?
I do have it.
And what was the resolution?
Well,
for?
the resolution was a board approved a deer fence with revisions in red ink, which nothing I have is all black and white, bad old copies. Mm-hmm. So you can't see anything red. Indicated on a survey prepared by Walbridge, revised March 12th, 1981. And a driveway gate as per revisions indicated again in red ink, which there is no indication of any red ink. So
there's no height.
There is heights on that. I have heights not in the resolution, but in a rendering that's stamped approved, and the driveway gate height is 6 feet.
Okay, but now it's 6'5" with 6'10" posts, correct?
6'9" posts. I mean, that is from grade. Maybe the gate itself is 6 feet, but there's a very wide grade.
No, well, we measure from grade. So, Jameson, what would you suggest to the board that we do under these circumstances where we're looking at a 6-year-old resolution that was built not to what was approved? Should we extend it to get them into compliance, or should we deny it?
I can't tell you which way to vote on it, but your options are to, if you grant the extension of time, it gives this applicant the opportunity to bring the driveway gate that exists into compliance with what was approved. So
right. And then we wouldn't grant the C of O that is
right. No, they're correct. Because this seems, it's not like this is an inch or two off. It doesn't seem like, the renderings that were approved, Brittany, they might be in there as well, because it was in my packet, just so the board can see. I mean, to me, it looks pretty clear. It doesn't just show 6 feet of gate. The line goes from grade up and it just says 6 feet. It's hand drawn, but
It's hand-drawn, but also it looks like there is some space between the wide boards of the gate. I mean, the
I
rendering
agree with you.
is it's a completely different, what they built is completely different, and what they built isn't particularly acceptable.
Right, so
Okay.
is there someone on the line? I missed that part.
Yes, there is a caller on the line. I'll unmute now.
Because we can also, Betsy, what we should do is see, now that they've heard their options, which is not just that they get the extension of time and they get to keep what they have. They can get the extension of time, but then they have to bring it into compliance.
There it is.
Maybe they will want to
Rethink it.
reapply.
The other thing that I just want to mention is this property is still owned by Alan Rooney, and whatever the potential new owners that are renting there, that has nothing to do with this application. I just want to make that clear, okay? So before we bring on whoever's on the line, I also want to ask, what's up with the fencing? What was approved in this resolution, and what is there, Diane?
There's nothing about the fence in the resolution, I don't think.
Does it
Oh,
say
no,
that it's
it
marked
does.
with
Yes,
red?
it does. In red ink, that's true.
The renderings show an 8-foot high deer fence post. It also says 2 by 8 black steel posts, 2 inch by 8 foot black steel posts, and 90 inches of something wire fence black.
Well, the entire property is fenced with more or less the same fencing, which is too tall, and it faces the road. Much of it faces the road. It's totally fenced. So I think everything is wrong.
Well, but it was approved.
Well, we don't know
Right.
because we don't.
The 8,
Well, no, we're looking at it right there. It says Architectural Review Board approved these drawings with these heights.
But in the resolution, it says revisions in red ink. We can't see the red ink. We don't know what the revisions are.
Right. I think what Diane means is we don't know where on the survey, where on the property it was actually approved. I'm assuming that there's a copy of this that has red lines about where the location was approved, which we might be able to get. That should be in the original file, wherever I don't know.
Okay, let's see who's on the phone. Let's see who's going. What's up?
Caller, you're live with the ARB.
Hi, this is Bruce Wildermuth for Alan Rooney, and I'm his caretaker, and I've been. Hi, how are you all?
Good, thank you for calling in.
Oh, sure, and thank you for considering the application. What our motive is to try to get the board's approval so we can get a CO, an updated CO, so the purchaser can, purchase the house as soon as he can. So whichever, we will obviously get the fence into compliance. It's 6 inch. It was built at feet. It's 6 inches above the ground, mostly because there's a Belgian block on the side, and it needed to clear it. And I believe I wasn't involved in building it, but that looks like why it was at that height. But we can get that down to 6 feet, and I guess you want to see through it, so we could probably conform it to that. But if the extension of time approval and then we get it into compliance and can come back for the CO inspection is a quicker way to go instead of a whole new application, we would like to do that. As far as the fencing goes, I don't have a copy of a redlined survey. The survey is being updated. The your file, I think, was often with the scanning people, and that's why Derek had to request a hard copy of it because he couldn't see it in scan. So I guess they didn't send a color copy, they sent the black and white copy. So I don't know how to resolve that. There are other properties that do have fencing around, and it was done because, they have little kids and a dog.
Okay.
So we can, or
may I just,
or do you want it lowered in the front to some portion and then go back up to the 7.5, which was approved.
Go ahead, Esperanza, what's your question?
I'm looking at the survey, and what I'm reading is it appears that the deer fence indicates in a portion that extends from the driveway gate, it says 6 feet, and then up on the top perimeter, no, go back. It says 8 feet. Do you see there are little arrows that indicate 6 feet and 8 feet? So that maybe those are the red
Right.
Notes.
Right.
Well,
So, Jay,
I have a question though, because what one of Diane's comments was that it's entirely fenced in.
Totally, yes. It's
So is
totally
there,
fenced.
so between Diane and the agent on the line, can either one of you speak to whether, hold on, whether there's fencing on the,
Yes.
west side of the driveway?
There is fencing all along North Hollow Drive and all along the other property line.
Property line, right.
Yeah,
So
the
that's,
property line to the left. It's totally fenced 100%. Now, the people that are trying to buy the house were very amenable to moving. the fence.
Diane, it has nothing to do with them. This
Well,
is-
maybe Bruce, who is on the line.
Right.
well, the applicant, if the applicant is making the offer, then.
Right. So what I'm hearing from Bruce as well as Diane and Jameson is that if we grant the extension of time to reduce the gate and the post to 6 feet from grade, remove every other board to make it more open, and the area along Hollow as well as what's marked on the survey for 6 feet, we withdraw the certificate of occupancy request for this meeting, let him get these into compliance, and then come back to us to do the C of O. Does that work, Jameson and Diane?
Yes, but I mean, it sounds to me like we're approving what I've seen, even though it's not indicated on the survey. It's there. It's 100%.
No, we're dropping it down to 6 feet all along the North Hollow Drive and up towards the area by the back where it goes to 8 feet. So it wouldn't be enclosed 100% by 8-foot fencing.
I think
But
what Diane's saying.
But it would be enclosed 100% by 6 foot.
6 and 8 foot.
Well, and my only concern is that I don't see, there's not enough in this file to tell me that 6-foot fencing along North Hollow was approved ever.
Ever.
Because it's not on the survey. So,
It just looks like it's on the west side.
Yes. Right.
Not on the east side of the gate.
Right.
Right.
I don't want to be argumentative, but if we have a gate, we kind of need, the deer can just, and the kids can run out on the street if there's no fence along North Hollow.
right, but that would then just be that you're asking for an approval from the board, which is independent of the approval that was received in 2014, potentially. Because right now, for an extension of time, what you're asking for is just to breathe life into this specific approval. And I don't know if this specific approval gives you what you ultimately want.
Okay.
Unless you're reading this approval from 2014 differently, that fencing, 6-foot fencing along North Hollow Drive was approved, but I'm not seeing that.
I'm not seeing it either.
Which is okay. So then we have options here. The board could grant the extension of time. Then they could ask for a modification. You could do it that way. Modify this.
Okay.
Or you bring in application, which is basically asking for what currently exists. With the caveat that it has to be lowered anyway.
Right, because we would deny that because it's above 6 feet on the gate.
Right, I understand that. Now, would 4 feet be allowed along North Hollow?
Yes.
Yes.
You don't need ARB's approval for it in the front yard, 4 foot.
Okay, so we could lower the fence along North Hollow where it's not indicated on the survey to 4,
Mhm.
and then the 6 foot and the 8 foot would be okay as on the approved survey.
And I guess that's a third option. Then you could do the extension of time. And then you can cut the fencing that's not on this approval down to 4 feet because it doesn't require ARB. And then you could still get the CO. If the board is okay with the extension of time.
And then and also reduce the gate down to 6 feet and the posts.
Right.
Correct?
Right, I understand.
Right, and more transparent.
I think
Right.
the gate has to go down to 4 as well without our approval.
But the gate is included in the extension of time. So if the board grants the extension of time, then the applicant has to bring everything that was in this approval into compliance with the approval, which would be bringing the driveway gate down to 6 feet and making those gaps between the boards.
Right.
Right.
And we would basically be approving the extension of time because the applicant is willing to lower the front facing on North Hollow down to 4 feet. That's what I think is the best way to go here.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Chip, where are you on this?
I'm okay with it.
Okay. And Esperanza?
Yes, I agree to that if the 4 foot gate comes in,
Okay.
fence.
All right, so I'm gonna, so Diane, if you want to make a motion, and then we'll see where the board goes with this, okay?
Okay.
Because Peter had some concerns, so if we can make a motion for the extension of time.
To grant the extension of I make a motion to grant the extension of time with the understanding
That the gate is brought down to 6 feet.
that the gate is brought down to 6 feet and the fencing on the North Hollow Road Drive is brought down to 4 feet, even though that's not in the resolution.
Right, but that's the reason why we're giving the extension of time.
All right, okay.
All right, do I got a second on that, Chip?
Second.
All in favor? Esperanza?
Aye.
Peter?
Oh,
No? Okay, and Betsy, aye. Okay. All right, so Bruce, that's where we're at.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Okay, and then we're going to withdraw your application for the C of O until
Yeah.
everything is brought into compliance.
Right, and then we'll make a subsequent request for the CO.
Right.
Right.
Once everything's in compliance and a board member comes out to, inspect it, okay?
Okay, and we'll get you a new survey too.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
I just need 1 second to make a note. Okay, for C of O, Robert and Olga Prince, tax map number 300-23-3-10, 152 Waterhole Road in East Hampton, and that's Peter.
okay. We get the pictures up. This is an application for a C of O, right, for an existing property where the gate and the fence exceed 6 feet. The gate, according to my notes, is it varies because you'll notice the grade slopes down on the left side as you face it. The posts are 7 foot plus. They vary on one side. The grade is, the posts are 6'5". The posts on the left side are 7'2". The gate is 6'2". I think both the gate and the posts need to be brought down to be in compliance. This is not ready for the issuance of a certificate of occupancy.
Okay, but can I just ask a question? Am I looking at 8-foot metal posts for deer fencing there too?
No, that post that you see is actually a sprinkler.
Okay, all right, sorry, okay. All right, so this is denied, correct?
Denied.
I have a question. Were you able to see the 8-foot high? Was there 8-foot high, 2-inch square black wire farm and field fence on the property, Peter? Because I see that's included on the approval.
I'm sorry, you see that on the application?
No, on the approval, on the
resolution.
On the resolution.
On the north and south side, yes.
Is that part of it in compliance?
That is in compliance. The only thing that is not in compliance is the gate and the fence in the front.
And would that be the east and west side, where it's supposed to be 6 feet?
Let me look at the survey again. Orientation.
Excuse me for a moment.
It is on the east side.
And what's the height of it? Is it 6 feet?
What are you referring to now, the gate or the posts?
And I'm talking about the fences. On the resolution, it says that on the, if I'm not mistaken, on the east and west side, the fencing is supposed to be 6 feet, and on the north and south, it's supposed to be 8 feet.
It is.
So it's just the gate that's not in compliance. All right, that's what Jameson was asking.
I'm sorry, it's the gate and the gate posts.
Right. Okay, Jameson?
I got it. So I think we're just kind of, I think we're tabling this.
We're going to table it instead of denying it?
Yeah.
Okay. So that they can get it into compliance?
Yeah.
Okay. I always thought that we denied the C of O until it becomes into compliance.
Well, then, okay.
No, I'm just asking the question.
Well, I mean, I think we decided normally things that we would deny, we might be tabling instead to give them the opportunity.
All right, that's fine. That's fine.
You know, we're just basically
allowing them time. Okay.
Right.
That's fine. All right. So we'll table this. Okay. J.L. Farrell Real Estate LLC, tax map number 300-145-5-25. That is 4, 6, 8, and 10 Cheryl Foster Path in East Hampton, and Esperanza.
So this is an application for certificate of occupancy for the sign to this property, which is a complex of multiple units or lots. And Brittany, if you could pull up the actual picture of the sign, please. Well, there it is. Okay. Just past it. Okay. So just so you see the location, and then there's one that I think you must have of it head on. And if not, we can look at it. There it is. Image 6611. Okay. So the design complies with what they submitted. The application or the resolution for this indicates that we approved a 19.53 square foot single-sided sign with lighting. I actually see on their design, it says 19.52 square feet. But so the resolution indicates 19.53. My measurements indicate that it's 19.95 square feet. Otherwise, it is completely, substantially conforms to what they applied for and that we approved.
Excuse me, Chair, if I may, there is a caller on the line.
Okay.
Sorry.
Caller, you're on with the ARB.
Hi, this is Butch Payne. I'm part owner in this project on Cheryl Foster's Path that you're referring to.
Hi, Butch. Can you spell your last name for the record?
Payne.
Great, thank you. Okay. So we were just talking about the sign that what was on the resolution was 19.3, on your application is 19.2, which is splitting hairs, but when it was measured.
19.53, Betsy.
5.3, I'm sorry, 5.3. And then when Esperanza measured it, it was a little bit, closer to 20 feet. So I don't think anybody has an issue with this, but I just wanted to ask Jameson, our counsel, do we need to make any kind of change to the resolution to modify it for the actual build out of the sign by, a half a foot? Or are we okay with just approving it as is?
I think we're okay with it. If the board is okay with it, I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I am too. Anybody else have any issues or questions on that?
No.
I'm sorry, Peter, what?
No, I have no.
Okay. Great. I'm sorry, the lag time is difficult. So you can make a motion, Esperanza?
So yes, I make a motion to approve I guess I would instruct staff to advise the building department that this application is ready for a CO as far as the sign is concerned.
Right. Okay. Do I have a second, Peter?
Second.
All in favor, Diane?
Aye.
And Chip?
Aye.
Aye, and Betsy, aye. Okay. All right, Bruce, so we're good with the sign. Jameson, do you want to lead us into the next for this?
Sure. I'm sorry, what's the caller's name again?
Bruce Payne.
Butch Payne.
Oh, Butch Payne, I'm sorry.
That's why I got confused. Okay. So Butch, I don't know if you were forwarded our communication from Caitlin, who works in your office. This board
went through everything.
Okay, so the background, and for the public is just that we also considered the larger project, the entire commercial site at our last meeting. The board had a number of questions because it appeared that there were some minor changes to what was approved versus what was built.
Okay.
So we tabled it last meeting so that hopefully we would have the opportunity to speak to a representative that could just kind of on the record explain the justification or any of the explanations of why those changes happened, and to more importantly see if you all could provide the board and the town with as-built plans that reflected what was there, because they don't necessarily, the approved plans don't necessarily reflect what was built in the opinion of the board. So that's where we're at.
Okay, do you want to run through them one by one, or?
Sure. So let's start. Let's have Esperanza start, because she did the site inspection a couple weeks ago. So Esperanza, you want to bring us up to date on what the changes were from what was approved?
Sure. And just going from my notes, and I unfortunately don't have the plans that I had the last meeting, but what I observed was the windows.
I was going to say, I don't want to interrupt, but Brittany does have the photos from the last meeting. Those might help prompt the conversation.
Yep, that would be great. Yep.
Okay.
So, Brittany, if you could go, there are some photos of the other side of the building, not in this group, I don't think.
Oh.
So it would be from the last meeting. But should I proceed or wait for?
Yeah, sorry, I thought that those were from the last meeting because they were of the building, not of the sign.
No, I did take those additional photos
Okay.
this week because I didn't have photographs perhaps that would better show the roofing color.
Okay,
So
so maybe we can start there since we have.
let's start there. Yes. So the roofing, from what I recall of seeing in the plans, it indicated a light bronze color. And of course, we can see if Brittany pulls up one of the pictures, both the roofing and the trim actually were supposed to be, I think, light bronze. It's all in a blue color.
Brittany, if you can pull up
Correct.
those pictures that you had, please.
I wasn't quite aware that, look, we bought this property, we inherited the plans with the property from the Talmadge family. To be honest with you, I really wasn't aware that it was a specified color, and we went with the blue to match the sign. That's our company colors, and that's pretty much how it ended up. It wasn't, I didn't think anything of it.
Should have.
Okay, what's the other issues, Esperanza? Was the windows? If you could explain that.
So I mean, obviously you went with the plans in many regards. So the second thing was the windows, which you really can't see in any of these pictures, but if I'm recalling correctly, the lower parts of the windows, I mean, in the plans, all of the windows have divided lights. So they're all, what do you call it? It's just divided lights, right, Peter? I'm using the correct terminology. Whereas what was built was only the upper parts of these double hung windows are divided and the lower parts are clear. So, which it's just an observation as to what was built as opposed to what was on the plan. Again, possibly that was an aesthetic consideration on your end and you just decided to make that choice. But I think for the town,
That is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. We just thought it would be more practical and look better.
And
Easier to clean. What, Peter?
Definitely easier to clean, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. It looks less clunky.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Just a
Peter,
neater,
can you
cleaner
repeat
look, I
yourself?
think.
Yes.
I don't have a problem with just having the upper lights, upper windows divided.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
And then the last thing was just the lighting. Again, this is just that we're looking at what we have as what was the resolution was based on the plans that were submitted. And on the plans, the lighting was also a little different. I think most of the lighting was above the doors in all of the units, and I believe you've put it on the sides or vice versa. Right now I can't recall, and we can't pull up the pictures. There we go.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Perfect.
Okay, great. Thank you, Brittany. So that's a particular instance that if you compare the plans, again,
The lights were on the side.
the lights were on the side, and here they're all above the doors.
Right. And wasn't there something where some of the bay doors had doors in them where that was, or vice versa, where they?
Oh yeah, so just the big overhead doors, the big garage doors, some have pedestrian doors that was on the plan either.
And that was not on the plan. Okay. Was there anything else,
Some of those
Esperanza?
I'm sorry, we've lost you.
Go ahead, Butch.
I'm still here. I'm here.
Good. Go ahead.
Okay.
As far as the doors, we put those individual doors inside the overhead doors just to, when you open the doors, you lose a lot of heat in the wintertime. That was the only thought behind that, so you didn't have to go through the office to get into the shop area and open the overhead door every time. We didn't do it in all of them. We did it in some of them. We kind of didn't think about it till the end, and it was really just to keep the heat in.
Okay.
Right. So I think what we're all saying is that the doors, the lights, and the windows are minor changes. The roofing, it's not so minor, but I don't think anybody has enough of an issue with it where, we would want anything other than for you to submit new as-built plans that reflect the changes that were made and document that the color of the roof would suffice. And Jameson, do we hold this for the C of O until we get those as-built plans? What
we've been doing, because this has come up quite a few times recently, if the applicant thinks he can get them to us rather quickly, I think the board can do our usual, make the motion and contacting, alerting staff to contact the building department. And then, we just hold off on sending that memo to the building department until we receive the plans for the file.
Right.
I don't know how.
Excuse me, I don't think this application for the C of O is for the whole building yet. Isn't this just for the sign?
No, this is two different applications.
There are, I only see one.
We're recalling, Peter. It was on last meeting's agenda. We just didn't have a chance to update the agenda and post it in time.
Okay.
But they did apply, and it was called last meeting.
All right.
We're gonna make sure that we know
those change, revised as-built pretty quick.
Okay, great. What is pretty quick? Like within a week?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, all right. Well, then what we'll do is we'll move forward approving this for certificate of occupancy. And as Jameson said, once the plans are submitted to the office to Derek's attention, then he'll release the information in the process that we normally go through. Okay?
And if you wouldn't mind just making a note.
Yes.
Okay.
If you wouldn't mind just making a note to yourself, we need a digital copy as well as a hard copy.
Okay.
If you can get both of those to Derek, that would be great.
Yeah, we'll definitely get it out to him next week.
Right, and you know what I think would also make this as complete is if you can just have a color swatch in the as-built plans that reflect the actual color
of the roof color.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the downspouts.
Yes.
And yeah, right, on the roof and the downspouts. So Esperanza, would you like to move forward with this, please?
Yeah, I will. I just have one question with regard to the apartments that are there. Are those for people that work in those places that will be renting there, or is that sort of affordable? What is that?
The second story.
Sorry?
Yes, the 4 apartments above the 2 end buildings.
Yes.
Yeah, some of them are for employees of the people from down below.
Okay.
And some of them are actually our employees as well.
Okay.
But they're not affordable housing units.
Not to the best of my knowledge.
Right, I don't think so either. I think it would have been part of this application. Okay.
Right.
Let's go.
So
All right, so I'll have all that to you guys next week.
Great, thank you, Butch.
Okay, thank you. Take care.
I'd like to instruct staff to advise the building department that this application is, the application for the building complex is ready for a CO once the applicant has submitted the as-built plans.
Great. Do I have a second, Diane?
Yes, second.
All in favor, Chip?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Joe Carroll Water, tax map number 300-200-2-28-3, 92 Wainscott Main Street in Wainscott, and that's Esperanza with Diane Benson.
With Diane.
You go ahead.
Okay, all right. Oh, but I don't have the
Oh, I
exact
have it.
application, so perhaps you read it. And then
Okay, this is this resolution. This resolution. An exterior change to the existing building to add a timber frame overhang to the rear of the pool barn. Standing seam 16-ounce copper roof. Trim posts and doors white painted cedar and siding red cedar shingles to match and align with the existing residence. Everything is exactly in line, except that the cedar posts have not been painted white. As you see here, they've been left natural. And it is our understanding, after speaking with Mrs. Lauder's representative, that she likes it this way and hopes to keep it this way. So I think between Esperanza and I, we think that it looks absolutely fine, and it's very much in keeping with the whole demure aspect of the property.
Okay,
Right.
so,
So Esperanza, do you want to
Oh, okay, yeah,
make a
so
motion?
being that it substantially complies with the resolution, I make a motion to approve the application with, how would you say, keeping in mind that the posts and trim will remain a natural cedar.
great. And Diane, can I get a second?
Absolutely.
And
Second.
Peter, all in favor, Peter?
Aye.
And Chip?
Aye.
I and Betsy, aye. Okay, great. Thank you both. Louis Buckworth, tax map number 300-24-13-22, 143 Norfolk Drive in Springs, and that's Peter.
This is the approval of a 6-foot-high fence and gate with fencing around the property. The photograph that you just saw is not the recent one. Right. That's it there. I've been out to the property, measured the fence, measured the posts, reviewed the fencing around the property, and is in compliance with the approved resolution. I'd make a motion to contact the building department that this project is ready for a certificate of occupancy.
Can I get a second on that, Chip?
Second.
All in favor, Diane?
Aye.
Esperanza?
Aye.
And Betsy, aye. Port Royal Owners Corp. Tax map number 300-27-2-2.116 Navy Road in Montauk. This was a resolution to, if you can find those photographs for Port Royal, Brittany, thank you, just to show really quick. There was this old building that they wanted, that the resolution was to replace the siding, doors and windows and the decking to match the existing structures of the other motel or hotel properties, which is down on the below. And every time I go to photographs, I lose sight. Hold on, I gotta come back up. There we go. So the bottom photograph is what this building was renovated to match. And I have been out to the property. It matches exactly the other buildings, and it is ready for a certificate of occupancy. So I am instructing staff to let the building department know that this is ready to go. Okay?
Great.
Can I get a second on that, Diane?
Yes, second.
All in favor? Chip?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
And Esperanza? Okay.
Aye.
The next, thank you. The next application for C of O was Alan Rooney, which was withdrawn. And the last is 7 Sally's Path LLC, 11 Timber Lane, in East Hampton, tax map number 300-91-1-16-40. That would be Esperanza.
Yes. So I've been down to this property a few times now. The board approved a 6-foot-high black wire fence and an existing 6-foot-high gray stained cedar driveway gate. And past the driveway gate has still been exceeded 6 feet. It now actually is at 6 feet, or with depending on the grade, 6'1". So it's fine. And the fencing to each side of it is as indicated in the application. Also, it's I think it's 4 foot even now. My only question is then that I could confuse, because I was included a new survey or another survey on my in my file, and there's a highlighted, I don't know if that's on Brittany's end so that the board will see it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Oh no, okay, so the plans that I have, the highlighted portion is not where you see it there. It's up above on the, I don't know what, northeast portion of the property. And so unfortunately that made me enter the property, and I don't know if I mean, I don't think it's an issue. It's just there's, again, the fencing is it goes over 7 feet. It's 4 feet wire mesh, but then it has several of those wires above, so it goes over 7 feet, and that's all. I mean, I just had to make that observation.
But the resolution was for a 6-foot black wire deer fencing, correct?
Well, as indicated on the survey, and I'm not quite sure, now that Brittany pulled up that survey, it was highlighted, and I've only ever looked at that portion of the property. But now in mine, it has another highlighted portion. So that's why I entered the property and looked at that, and it was over 7 feet. Again, it's a 4-foot wire mesh, but then it's got all those wires above it that exceed the 6 feet height.
Right. And I guess my question is, the area that's highlighted, there's no indication what it's highlighted for.
I don't know.
Is there any indication on the resolution that says, fencing highlighted, or anything that would make any kind of sense with that?
No, it doesn't. I mean, the only reason why
it says as indicated on the survey.
Right, and that's why I've only ever seen, and my last surveys have highlighted only that portion that faces the road.
Right, okay.
This survey indicated this other portion, which it may be because it indicates the fencing that's within the property line, which is, so as opposed.
Well, let me ask you this, because it looks like in the photograph of the gate, which you said is now at 6 feet, some of that fencing looks higher than the gate. So it looks like it.
Right, no, and sorry.
The grade of the ground.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but no, the fencing that you see there, it's, of course, the grade is elevated,
right?
But
and the posts
are higher. The posts are higher, but the actual wire mesh is maybe
not. But the posts, how high are those? How tall are those posts?
That's no more than 6 feet.
So they're at 6 feet. Okay.
Yeah.
Jameson, do you have any issues with what Esperanza is pointing out about this highlighted area versus, what is in the resolution versus what's on the survey, what's on her new survey? It's a little confusing.
The survey that I have is the same one that Esperanza got, which is an updated survey. If you look at the dates on the survey, and then you look at the date of the survey referenced in the resolution, you can see that June 25th, 2019 was the last update. And that's probably the one that Brittany has. And that makes sense because that shows the highlight that is referenced in the resolution. The one that Esperanza and I received has a new update on it that says February 19th, 2020, update fence. And I would not know what that means except then they did highlight that little portion. But does yours have that in the bottom right, Esperanza?
Yeah, I'm looking at that and I don't, oh, I see, yes, I do.
So they must have submitted a new survey when they submitted their CO request, which is fine and normally helpful, but now it's kind of confusing. One thing I will say is that if the board contacts or staff contacts the building department that this is ready for a CO, we can do that. We would just have to be very, very clear that what was approved does not include, we would give it to them with the survey that Brittany has, and only what's on that survey is what is approved. We now know that there's fencing on the property that wasn't approved, not in this resolution anyway, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, in a trying
And
to
also too,
things.
let me just say this, in the upper right corner, that fencing looks like it goes off their property line and then goes on their property line and then goes in their property.
That's, Betsy,
It might be
exactly,
lot 17.
okay,
I
but
know, but I'm just asking.
if I can clarify, that's perhaps why it's highlighted on the copy that we have, because it's highlighting the portion of the fence that's inside. There's a portion of fence. See, this survey that you're seeing on the screen is not the one that we have. We have
Okay.
Oh, you're right.
highlighted portion in the back that's totally within the property line. So I think what they were indicating is that the
That they
fencing
moved
was
the
brought-
other, right, that they brought that fence into their property.
Yeah, well, the other fence is still, I wish I could show you this.
It's
I know.
still off the property.
I
Okay.
kind of think
There.
that, yeah, I kind of think that we should table this only because it's going to get messy. The building department's going to be mad at us if we send this to them like this.
Okay.
Because we can, and the applicant's probably going to get mad that we're tabling it. But to be honest, I don't know if this board, you all might be okay with including, modifying their approval to add this portion of fencing that was updated, was added to the survey in February. That tiny little portion that's not indicated on that survey, but is on this, that's 7 feet. But you guys haven't discussed that.
Right.
Excuse me, Chair,
what's
if
gonna
I may.
happen?
Excuse me, Chair, if I may. There is a caller on the line.
Oh, good.
Great.
Hello?
Caller, you're on
Good
the line with.
afternoon. My name is Zoltan Henkovsky. I am one of the owners of the property.
I'm sorry, excuse me, can you state your name for the record, please?
Zoltan, Z-O-L-T-A-N, Henkovsky, H-A-N-K-O-V-S-Z-K-Y.
Right, and can you turn off your TV or whatever you're watching, because we're hearing feedback from it?
Yes. I'm
Thank
sorry, I am doing that right now.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Zoltan.
Okay, so basically, we contracted to purchase this property and building from a builder, and he did all the work, plans, everything based on our contract. And initially, he ordered a survey, which is the June 96 survey that you have. 2019 survey that you'll have. And when the fencing issue and the certificate of occupancy issue came up, you inspected the property, and rightly you observed that our fence was on the neighbor's property, and that's when you approved the 6-foot fencing in the front, but said that we could not get a certificate until we submitted, reduced the fencing and submitted a new survey that showed the fence on our property. So we had the fence moved and submitted a new certificate of occupancy. And so the first survey that you have from June 19 indicates our fence, a portion of our fence on the neighbor's property. And the second survey from February 2020 indicates where the fence currently is. And And then for the March meeting, 2020 meeting that you had, we were unaware of that submission, and we didn't know that our fence was, the gate was too high, the posts were too high. And when we got the results of that just recently, in fact, I think the end of May and beginning of this month, we had the fence post cut down to 6 feet from grade, and we removed the wires from the deer fencing that were above what you initially approved. If there are any other issues that you have, definitely will comply with whatever they are. I just would like to know so I can take care of it, because I can't deal second hand through people, unfortunately. So that's basically what I called in. I was listening to your discussion, and I thought I would call in and state this, and then I will listen to whatever you say.
Right. And we're glad you did call in, because you explained what the difference of the surveys are. Jameson, do you have any questions on this?
Yes, I do. So currently, I don't know, because we don't have the new survey up on the screen. However, what Esperanza mentioned earlier is our updated survey is still showing some fencing over on lot 17. So I was just hoping that the homeowner on the phone could just confirm for the record that the fencing that's shown now off the property line is the neighbor's fence. Is that correct?
Yes. If there are any fences off my property line, they're not mine. And I have a fence also, so we have two fences.
Okay. Okay, so that just I wanted to make clear, because this, it's still showing some fencing off the property. My only other question then for the board, if I think that the board's going to have to include, if you have to consider whether you're okay with this fencing. So now it's basically there is new fencing. The fencing has been moved onto his property, but I don't think that the board has considered that fencing yet at this height.
So the resolution from November 2019, November 14, 2019, did not include any fencing other than what was highlighted in yellow. And now we're considering all that other fencing, and what is the height of that other fencing?
I guess Esperanza said that it's 7 feet.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I only went in to view it was highlighted on the survey. I went directly to that spot and measured. And again, it's approximately 4 foot mesh, black mesh fence. But then above it are several lines of wire that exceed then 6 feet. They're about, 7 feet. They're over 7 feet, actually.
All around that whole area that shows.
I only truly measured in that little spot, and I didn't go into the remainder of the property to evaluate the consistency of whether it was 7 feet all around.
Right.
But as you see in the pictures, it's this kind of treatment.
Right, I understand. So Jameson, what we have is a resolution for the area that's highlighted on the survey that we're looking at now on the smart board, and the gate that's back in compliance with the 6 foot resolution. This existing fencing that surrounds the interior of the property pretty much, that's not part of this resolution. So what do we do here?
The applicant can apply for a modification.
May I just point out something?
Yes.
May I, my fence that surrounds the interior of the property, on the lot 17 side is exactly the same height as the neighbor's fence, except his is mashed, I believe, all mashed fence all the way to the top, and mine are 4 feet plus, I think, three strands of wire. And in between the two fences, there is space. But
How
on
much
that
space,
side, they're parallel.
Sultan?
How much space? I
Yeah.
don't really know, probably about 4 feet or 6 feet, something like that, off the top of my head.
Okay.
At least. So there's a pathway between the two fences,
Okay.
and they never touch.
Okay.
And what about the fencing that goes, can you see the screen? So we have the yellow highlighted portion. What about the whole rest of the fence that loops around, that in that direction?
By the reserve area.
Right, by the swimming pool and
Okay.
The reserve area.
Yes.
what's the height of that?
So the fences parallel each other only on that side, and then where it bends around the swimming pool and then goes back towards the road, there's only one fence, and that's mine.
And what's the height of that?
The height of that is 4 feet plus the wire, three strands of wire on top of that.
Right. So it's over 7 feet, basically.
Yeah, roughly 7
So,
feet.
right. So based on that, Jameson, is this something that he needs our approval for?
Yes.
And
yes.
How can you guide us on how we should administratively handle this?
Well, as the applicant, he's going to have to. My suggestion: apply for a modification to the November 14th, 2019 resolution to include all of the fencing on the property as it exists and have the board consider it that way. I don't know if Esperanza would be willing to, do her site inspection maybe with the applicant there with a mask at a distance, and just, so that you have access to the whole property and we can kind of
you can verify it, right?
And that he's asking for the right thing. However, maybe Betsy, you would want to poll the board to see if they would, if all of that is how it exists now. I don't want to have them run the risk of we do another inspection, ask for modification, and then the board just says no.
Yeah, let's
do a ask for a modification of a lower height or something like that. I mean, you guys can give them a little guidance maybe now at this point, since you know what it is.
Peter, what's your take on this?
And I'm just going to mute you for one.
Okay.
I think Jameson's proposal is correct. We just have to verify, right, the fence. What's there on it and what height it is.
Yeah. Right. I agree with you, because to just say, oh, it is what it is, but we don't know what it is. No one's gone out and done that site inspection. We're approving something that could be 10 feet tall. We don't know.
Right.
So Zoltan, I think the best thing to do is to contact the ARB office and ask to do a modification on your existing resolution to include the rest of the fencing inside the property. And therefore, if you can get that taken care of by next Thursday, which I believe is the 2nd of July, we can put you back on the agenda for the following 8th, if I'm not mistaken. And in between, we could have some Esperanza come out and measure what the fencing is. And also, I'd like to mention that I'd like some verification that the space in between your fencing and your neighbor's fencing is 4 to 6 feet, and that it's not something where an animal is going to get trapped in there, that they can move freely in between those fences.
Okay, well, I'd be very happy to be here when Esperanza would do the inspection, or whoever the inspector is going to be.
Great, okay. And so you'll take care of the modification to this existing resolution to include the rest of the fencing?
Yes, well, procedurally, I will do what you're recommending. I will contact the ARB office and ask how do I modify a current application, or what I have to do to modify it correctly, to include all of the fencing around the property, and that's what I'm going to ask for.
Excellent. So that's what you're asking for, is a modification to your November 14th resolution, and who's ever there, whether it's Derek or another staff member, they can guide you to that. And like I said, from a timing standpoint, if you can get all this taken care of before next Thursday at noon, we could be back on for the following meeting. Okay. I appreciate your compliance with this. This is great. Thank you.
I just have one question, if I can.
Please.
Oh yes. Because of the paper issues, I can't go to as far as I know, I can't go to the office itself to submit documents. I have to mail it, or is there a Dropbox, or how does that work? I can print everything online. That's not a problem.
Right.
But
right. I understand that. And Jameson stepped away, but Brittany, could you answer that for Zoltan, please? How can he get this happening between now and next Thursday because of the office being closed to pedestrians?
Correct. So what he can do is one of two things. He can either physically come to the office. There's a Dropbox outside of our office that you can submit your documents to, or you can mail it in, whichever you prefer.
I'll drop it off. Is there a fee for modification? Do you know?
Yes, there is.
Do I have to include a check?
Yes, but let me just say this. What I believe the proper way of applying for the modification is you submit a letter referencing your current resolution and that you want to make a modification to that, and then you explain what that would be, which would be the additional fencing on your property. And if you can call tomorrow to the office and ask what the modification fee is, they can tell you that, and you can include your check when you drop off your letter.
Terrific. Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, great. You're welcome. Thank you so much. Okay. Bye-bye. Peter Gumpel, should we wait for Jameson to come back to close the meeting, or can I close this meeting?
Can you hear me? I'm here.
Oh, you're there. Okay. She's back.
Let's just ask Jason, is there still, I got a message a few minutes ago that there was still a second caller on the line. Oh, they hung up. Never mind.
Sorry, Jason. Other callers. There are no other callers on the line.
And
actually, I'm sorry. I apologize. They did just call back. Do you want to have me open this up?
Sure.
Just a moment.
Just before we go on, so we're just tabling that last application, correct? Okay.
Right, because he's going to come back with a letter of modification.
Okay.
For the rest of the fencing. Thank you.
Chair, I'm going to unmute the caller.
Okay.
Caller, you're live with the ARB.
Hello, my name is Ramon Chavez Martinez.
Hi, Ramon.
Hi, how are you? Hi, everybody.
Good, how are you? Hi.
The reason for I call, I submit a drawings exchange for 2 applications, and I don't know if they on the meeting today.
No, they're not, but I remember your 2 applications last week. Let me just really quick.
It was Robert Turbino.
It was Stephen Garton, right, on 6 Old Pine Drive.
Yes.
And 3 Old Station Place, Robert Turbino. Those 2.
Yes.
Yes. I don't have any information. When did you submit the paperwork, Ramon?
Monday.
This past month, this current Monday, this week?
Yes.
Yes. The paperwork has to be in by Thursday, the week before the meeting by 12 noon. So since you didn't get it in at that day and you submitted it this Monday, it will go forward into the next meeting, which I believe is July 8th.
9.
July
July 9th.
8th. Okay, okay, thank you so much.
Okay, so we'll see you then, okay?
Thank you. Have a good
Right.
night, everybody. Thank
Ramon,
you.
Ramon, what I would suggest for you to do, are you still on the line?
Yes.
You might want to
Yeah,
just call the office tomorrow and ask Brittany who's in tomorrow? When are you in?
I'm in tomorrow. Derek, I believe, will be back on Monday.
Okay, so either you could call tomorrow or Monday and ask either Brittany or Derek just to confirm that they received your paperwork, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ramon.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, does anybody have anything else? If not, I'm gonna move to close the meeting of June 25th, 2020. Can I get a second, Peter?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, great job, everyone. Thank you very much. Good night.
Aye.